Now we're moving on to standard form, which we've already touched base on, but we're going to get into a little bit deeper today. So we're still on linear equations. We're going to focus on standard form. Remember that standard, slope, intercept, and point slope are all linear equations that can be rearranged to be in one form or the other, okay? Standard form is written as AX plus BY equals C. Your job is to fill in numbers for the A, the B, and the C. Now, proper standard form has a rule. It says that the first number in the A spot cannot be a negative, a fraction, or a decimal. That's just proper standard form. Says the number in the A spot. It did not say anything else about B or C. The number in the A spot should not be negative, a fraction, or a decimal. So if you get a decimal or a fraction or a negative, then you have to change the whole equation. What is called an equivalent equation. So I'm going to teach you what that means. An equivalent, y'all know what an equivalent fraction is? Yes or no? So let me show you guys. Take it back to what, 4th grade maybe? 1/2 is the same as 4/8. Yes or no? What else is it the same as? 8/16. So these are called equivalent fractions. They are the exact same thing. You can also have an equivalent equation. So basically you can simplify an equation or you can expand an equation, but you have to do it to the whole thing in order to keep it equivalent. It wants you to write 2 equations in standard form that are equivalent to this. So you have 2 things you could do. You could multiply the whole equation by a number, or you could divide the whole equation by a number. So we need 2 of them. The first one, let's multiply the whole equation by 2. So let's multiply by 2. Now again, in order to keep it equivalent, you have to multiply the whole thing by 2. So 2 times 2 is, so I have 4x minus 6 times 2 is 12y equals 4 times 2 is, and that is an equivalent equation to this. Meaning, if I graph this equation, it's going to be the exact same as if I graph this equation. They would be the exact same. Do y'all understand? All right, now instead of multiplying by 2, could we divide by 2? Now, you can only divide by 2 if they're all even numbers. Yes? All right, so we're going to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is? So I have 1x minus 6 divided by 2 is? 3y equals 4 divided by 2 is? 2. Super easy, yes? These are called equivalent equations. All right, so on the next one, what do y'all want to do to get an equivalent equation? Times 2 for the first one. What do we want to do for the second one? Can we divide by 2 or would it give us fractions? So we're not going to divide by 2, so could we multiply by 3? Yes. Okay. So for the first one, we're going to multiply by 2. 2 times x is 2x plus 4 times 2 is 8y equals 3 times 2 is 6. Now we're going to multiply it by 3. 3 times x is 3x plus 3 times 4 is 12y equals 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, are there any questions on equivalent equations? No? Okay, let's move on. And now we're going to learn how to write an equation in standard form. Are y'all ready? All you're going to do is write it in slope intercept first. So what I want you to do is write it in y equals mx plus b, then rearrange it to standard. All right, so you could either use stat or you could just write it because you know the slope and the intercept, yes? So if it's easy, like you can see the slope and the intercept, I would just do slope-intercept. But if it's not easy and like the intercept's passing through like a decimal, then go ahead and use your stat button. But for this one, I just need an M and a what? And a B. All right, where is it passing through the y-axis at? 3. And my slope, my rise is 2. My run is -1. Wait. But look at this one. This is not a good graph. I don't think this dot should be here. Or this dot. I don't know. Guys, this is not a good graph, so I'm going to get my calculator and use stat. Do y'all see that rise was 2 and that's 1, but that's 3 and that's 1? That's not a good graph. But pretend it is, and let's just use stat and do these 2 points, okay? And that won't happen on your assignment because this was graphed by another teacher. So let's see. 1, 2, 1, -2. All right, the y-intercept is 4. This whole graph is off, okay? So let's fix this. I promise this will not happen on your assignment. The y-intercept is 4, and the rise over run is -3 over 1. That was a horrible graph. So when the line was drawn, if y'all look, from here to here, it should have gone like that. And that would have been your y-intercept. Okay? Okay, so our equation would be y equals -3x plus 4. Super easy for that, yes, if you have a good graph. Now, what are we going to do to write it in standard form? Rearrange it. So now I want the x and the y on the left and the constant by itself on the right. Yes? So how would I move this -3x to the left? Okay, so I have 3x plus y equals 4. Is that in standard form? Yes. Is the number in the A spot a negative, a fraction, or a decimal? No, so it's good to go. 3x plus y equals 4. Okay, let's look at the next one. And let's make sure that it's graphed correctly. 2, 2. Yeah, I would use stat. I'm not going to use this graph because it looks like it wasn't graphed really well. So let's go to stat. Edit. I need an M. What's the M? And the B? 6. So do y'all see why I use stat? Because look at the B. It looks like it's a decimal, but it just wasn't graphed good. Okay? All right, so my equation in slope-intercept form is y equals -2x plus 6. Now, to get it to standard form, what am I going to do? Rearrange it. So I'm going to plus 2x on both sides. So I have 2x plus y equals 6. Is everything good? Is there a negative or a fraction or a decimal right here? No, so I'm good. 2x plus y equals 6. Okay, on the next page, they want you to write an equation. Now, this won't be standard form, slope-intercept form, or point-slope form because these are horizontal and vertical lines. Y'all remember this? I'm just refreshing your memory. So this line is a straight line passing through the y-axis, and this line is a straight line passing through the x-axis. So this line that's passing through the x-axis, since it's passing through the x-axis, it's going to be x equals. Y'all remembering, yes? Since this line is a straight line passing through the y-axis, it's going to be y equals. All right, so let's do line A, and it's right here. Line A is x equals, and we just need to see where is it at on the x-axis. Well, here's 0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So x equals 4. Why is it x equals 4? Because no matter where you're at, this is 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4. Y'all see what I'm saying? No matter where you're at, the x value will always be 4. So that is the equation. All right, let's look at the y one. This is a straight line passing through the y-axis. Here is 0. So this is -1, -2, -3, -4. Y'all remember that, right? Okay, good. All right, now they have given us an equation in standard form, and they want us to solve for the missing coefficient. So do y'all see how this is missing? Yes? Everybody with me? So to solve for the missing coefficient, simply plug in one of the coordinates from the line and solve for the missing number. So you would simply say, I'm looking for A times X. What's X? -1 plus 3 times Y. What's Y? Equals 2. And then just solve for that number. So you can write this -1A plus 0, so I'm just not going to write it, equals 2. Are y'all good? Yes or no? Okay, how would I solve for A? Divide by -1. So A is equal to? Now let's write the equation. So AX, so -2x plus 3y equals 2. Is that in standard form? Yes, but what did we learn? This number should not be A, so we got to get rid of it. But we can't just get rid of it and just say, oh, never mind, we don't want it. We have to write an equivalent equation. So here's my question. If I multiply this entire equation by -1, would it still be equivalent?
No. Yes. No.
So remember up here, we multiplied the entire equation by 2, and it was still equivalent. Or we divided by 2, or we multiplied by 3. So if I multiply the entire equation by -1, would it still be equivalent? Yes. Would it get rid of this negative? Yes. So -1, it would just change everything to opposite signs. So it would become 2x minus 3y equals -2. Because proper standard form, the A can't be a negative. Everything else can. Does that make sense to y'all? Yes or no? Okay, good. All right, let's do the next one. They want us to solve for the missing coefficient. What's missing? The A. So we're going to plug in the value of x and y from a coordinate from the graph. So I have A times x. What's x? 2. Plus 3 times y. What's y? 0 equals 6. And again, you can write this how we're used to writing it, like 2 times A plus 0, which I'm not going to write, equals 6. Divide by 2. So A equals 3. So I'm going to write my equation. 3x plus 3y equals 6. Do I need to change the equation? No, because the A is a positive integer, so I'm good. Okay, turn the page. It wants you to find the missing coefficient again, except this time they didn't give you a graph, they just gave you a coordinate. So you're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm missing a here. So I'm going to plug in 2 for x and negative 1 for y. So a times 2 plus 3 times negative 1 equals 5. So I have 2 times a minus 3 equals 5, because that's plus negative 3. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, yes? You good? Yeah? Okay. How would I get rid of the minus 3? Plus 3. So I have 2 times a equals 8. I would divide by 2. And I would get a equals 4. Well, that's not really my answer. It wants me to write the completed equation in standard form. So instead of a, I'm going to put 4. So I have 4x, everybody with me, plus 3y equals 5. Do I need to write an equivalent equation, or is this one good? Good. All right, y'all want to try the next one on your own? Okay, this time you're not solving for A, you're solving for B. Oh, I meant to plug in x. Okay. How do we do? Okay, y'all want to try the next one on your own? Just know the A is already there. It's a negative what? 1. Okay, did everybody get the value of b being negative 4? Okay, so your equation would be written negative 1x minus 4y equals 10, or plus negative 4y. Do I need to go through and explain anything? Look at your steps. If you messed up, look at where you messed up. Now, is this a good final answer? No. So how could I get rid of the negative? Divide or multiply everything by negative 1. So when you do that, you're just changing everything's sign to the opposite. Because right here that's negative x, which is negative 1x. Got it? Okay, so when I change everything, it would become 1x plus 4y equals negative 10. Okay, on 1 through 3, you're just going to identify the form of the equation that's on your star chart. So it's either slope-intercept, standard, or point-slope. Those would be your answers, and you write the words out. Point-slope or slope-intercept, yes? Okay, on 4 through 6, it wants you to write 2 equations that are equivalent. Okay, so that we have the same answers, I want you to, on number 4, multiply by 2 and then multiply by 3. On number 5, I want you to multiply by 2 and multiply by 3. And on number 6, what do y'all think we could do? We could divide by 3 and we could multiply by 2. So just so that we have the same answers, let's do it that way. Okay, on 7 through 12, you are going to have to write an equation in slope-intercept first, and then do what? Rearrange it. So write that right here. Put y equals mx plus b, and then rearrange. I do not want an improper standard form. So again, no negatives, no decimals, no fractions for the A. I am going to do number 9 with you. And the reason is it's going to give you a fraction. And I want to talk to you about how to get rid of a fraction. So let's go do number 9. All right, this is a good graph, so we can use M and B. What is the y-intercept right here? It's at 4. Does everybody agree? So the M is 4, and the B is, the B is 4. I wrote that backwards. And the M is rise over run. 2 over 4 simplifies to 1/2. All right, so let's go write our equation in mx plus b form. Y equals, I'm waiting on y'all, 1/2 x plus 4. Okay, but that is slope-intercept form, so now we're going to rearrange it to standard. To be in standard form, the x and the y have to be on the left. So how would I get this right here to the left? So I would end up with negative 1/2 x plus y equals 4. Does everybody agree? Okay, but we have some rules. This number right here cannot be what? It can't be a negative, and it can't be a... So anytime it's a negative, you're just going to multiply everything by a negative to get rid of it. But how do you get rid of a fraction? Here's how you do it. Multiply by the denominator. I'm going to tell you why. If I have 1/2 and I multiply it by the denominator, what's the denominator? 2? Doesn't that become 2 over 2 and it simplifies to 1? Yes or no? Okay, if I have 3/4 and I want to get rid of the fraction, could I multiply by 4 over 1 and that becomes 3? You see what I'm saying? So anytime you want to get rid of a fraction, multiply by the denominator. So we're going to multiply by -2. Why are we multiplying by negative? To get rid of the negative. Why are we multiplying by 2? To get rid of the fraction. Okay? All right, so my final answer will be positive 1x. Yes, because the 2's cancel out. And if you don't know that, you can just put it in your calculator. Minus 2y equals -8. Do y'all feel okay with that? Yes or no? Okay. Flip to the back. I want to talk to you about 13 through 15. It wants you to write equations of the horizontal. What's a horizontal line? Looking like that? Yes? And vertical. What's a vertical line? Looking like that. Lines that pass through the given points. This is why we went over those horizontal and vertical equations. So do not overthink this. I'm going to show y'all what it would look like. If I graphed the point 2, 1, everybody agree it's right there, yes? Okay. And I drew a vertical line through it. What would my equation be? What axis is it passing through? So it'd be x equals, and where am I at on the x-axis? Okay, if I drew a horizontal line through it, what axis is it passing through? Where am I at on the y-axis? Okay, now look. Is the x 2? So x equals 2, y equals? Those are the equations of the lines that it passes through. So it's literally just x equals the x value and y equals the y value. Yes or no? Okay, so I just gave you all the answer to that one. So x equals 2, y equals 1. That is the equation of the horizontal and vertical line that pass through that point. Okay? Now, number 16. I'm going to help y'all set it up since this is our kind of first time doing standard form. Remember, we use standard form when they're giving us two rates, but they don't go together. Like apples cost 10 cents per pound and bananas cost 30 cents per pound. Okay? That's when we use standard form. So here we go. You are buying $80 worth of lawn seed. So is that a total? Yes or no? You are buying $80 worth of lawn seed. Is that a total or a rate? It's a total, so that's probably the C. It consists of two types of seed. That's a good clue that we're going to use standard form because there's two types. One type is a quick growing ryegrass that costs $3.80 per pound, a pound. So did they just give you a rate? Yep. And the other type is a higher quality seed that costs $5 a pound. Did they give you another rate? Write an equation in standard form that models the possible combinations you could have bought if you spent $80. All right, so let's go write it together. This is going to be our A. So somebody tell me. 3.80x plus 5y equals 80. Now, question, is that a really good equation in standard form? What are we not supposed to have? We're not supposed to have decimals. So let's talk about how you can get rid of a decimal in standard form. What happens when you multiply by a power of 10? So if I have 5.0 times 10, what happens to this decimal? It moves one place to the right. Yes? So anytime you want to get rid of a decimal, just ask yourself, how many times would I need to move this decimal to get rid of it? I only really need to move it once, because that 0 doesn't even matter. Are y'all with me? So if I multiplied by 10, would it get rid of it? Yes. Could I multiply by 100? Yes, but I don't need to. I only need to move it one spot. If you need to move it 3 spots, then you multiply by 1,000. If you need to move it 2 spots, you multiply by 100. I only need to move it one spot. Now, I'm not going to do it for you. You are going to answer B and C on your own by figuring out what you're going to plug in for. You're either going to plug in for X, and what is X? X is the quick growing. Y'all see what I'm saying? What is Y? Y is the higher quality. So that's how you know what you want to plug in for. Okay, and then you don't have to do 17. Okay.